The leaders of South Korea and North Korea say they want peace, vowing that their countries will never fight another war. That's the promise this morning from their summit, a pledge that caps a day of handshakes, hugs, and history-making. Now, this is video just coming into us this morning. South Korea's Moon Jae-In on the right, North Korea's Kim Jong-un on the left, raising their hands over their heads in celebration, hugging, all capping a day of talks, weighted with expectations and carrying a lot of heavy symbolism. Here's the first and the biggest of the many choreographed moments between the two leaders. There you see the first handshake. Kim on the north side, Moon on the south, and at their feet is that line that divides two countries still formally at war. Then, with a gesture from Moon, the diplomatic dance begins. With that step, Kim is standing in South Korea, the first leader from North Korea to set foot in South Korea since the fighting ended on the Korean peninsula. But their dance isn't over yet. There's Moon accepting Kim's invitation to step onto the North Korean side. It has all the appearances of an unexpected move. The two leaders are smiling and exchanging small talk like they're old friends, but bearing in mind this is their first face-to-face meeting. Kim's message, very, very significant as well. This is what he wrote in the guest book at the Peace House where the morning talks were held. A new history starts now, an age of peace from the starting point of history. Now, that talk of a new era of peace comes with another breakthrough pledge from North Korea. In their final communique, Kim backs the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. And as our Asian correspondent, Sasha Petrusik, tells us, that will be key in any future negotiations with the United States.
As we watch this body language, clearly they want to convey that that any animosity between North and South is a thing of the past. It may not be exactly, not quite yet, but certainly if you listen to Moon Jae-In at the final news conference, I guess at the final statement that he made, very sweeping statements. The war is over. Peace is upon us. North and South have opened a new era of peace. There will be no more fighting, no more accidental confrontations, and most importantly, there will be complete denuclearization on the Korean peninsula. Now, that's a key phrase that the Americans and many other observers have been waiting for, you know, it seems very, very clear-cut, complete denuclearization. That is what the Americans have asked for. That's what Donald Trump has said he wants before he's willing to move a step in terms of giving North Korea some relief from those economic sanctions. The question is whether they actually have it or not.
So there is just so much to look at and to unpack from what we've seen in the past hour, Sasha, and it just bears remembering just months ago, there was North Korea as threatening and as belligerent as ever, challenging the West with its nuclear program. So how much of a surprise is this seeming diplomatic breakthrough today?
Well, it does seem to be a huge surprise, and you know, if you've only been casually paying attention, you might have to shake your head because it really is a 180-degree turn. Suddenly, the guy who was threatening to hit the United States with a nuclear missile is saying everything is fine now. We're all friends, and we can work this thing out. But you know, if you look closely, there actually were some signals that maybe things are not quite as clear-cut yet and that there is still some pretty tough negotiating to come along. For instance, the declaration says that there should be complete denuclearization, sweeping statement, as I said. But if you listen to the final statements that were read and spoken by the two leaders, Kim Jong-un never actually says denuclearization. He never actually makes that verbal commitment to go that far. This may be just a negotiating point. He still has to meet with Donald Trump, and that will be the key meeting. But that will be something that observers will be paying close attention to. Is he really serious about denuclearization if he can't even bring himself to say that word? He did endorse the concept implicitly by agreeing to this communique, but he didn't say the word.
That is our Asia correspondent, Sasha Petrusik, in Seoul this morning. The U.S., as Sasha was mentioning, a big part of any next steps, and that includes the formal negotiation of a peace treaty. We have some reaction this hour from Donald Trump. Trump posting two messages on Twitter in the past half hour or so. The first, measured in tone, with Trump saying only that, quote, good things are happening, and talking about waiting and seeing. But in his next message, much more enthusiasm, all caps shouting out that the Korean War is to end, adding the United States and Americans should be proud of what is happening in Korea.